It's been so fun getting to meet the guys. Having a new group of guys and getting to meet new teammates. And I will admit that getting a lay of the land is probably a tough part of the whole transition, but it's been positive overall.
What stands out to you most about a Todd Bowles style of defense?
It's aggressive. I enjoy that. I know you guys don't get to sit in the meetings, but listening to him talk about how he sees the game of football, he speaks to you in a way that makes you want to take notes, and like things to live by. So I enjoy that.
How are you feeling health-wise so far entering camp?
Feel great.
I know you've only been in the past couple of days, but do you get a feel what you and Vita are going to be able to do inside playing together?
I watched Vita long before I got here, and it's even something that I wanted to watch when he came up to play in Chicago, and I really enjoy his style of play, and I find that, some of the things that he does, I like to do, the way he plays with power, the way he can bend, the way he can play athletic with a large frame, I enjoy. So I think make a good match.
Remind you of anybody you've played alongside before?
No, one-on-one, right? Yeah, I would say one-on-one.
Akiem, what have you seen from Adrian Sanat, your impressions of him lining up with him these last few days?
I really enjoy watching him get into his stance. I find that, some D linemen have a really natural stance, and he's one of those guys. Watching him play his blocks, everybody has a little bit of a different style, but I think that he can be dynamic, and I also think that his stature makes him a great nose guard. So.
Can you feel that this is a team that's got one thing on their mind, is Super Bowl, and it's just kind of an aura that's around this group of guys?
No question. I played on some pretty good teams, and one thing you got to do is strike while the iron is hot. Well, you got a group of guys around here that are excited about football, that are inspired when they come to work. You got to capitalize on that moment because it's only for a span. You never know how long it is, but you got to take advantage of it while it's there.
How nice is it going to be to play next to somebody who's going to eat up a lot of double teams and beat them?
Yeah, man. Hopefully we can share that responsibility. But I think that anytime you have a dominant player on the interior next to you, like I had in Eddie Goldman in Chicago, I think that you can make a lot of heck.
I know you're focused so much on what you and your group, what you guys are doing, but Robert Haynes is a guy that stepped into some really big shoes, stepping in for Ryan Jensen. What have you guys seen from him?
That next man up mentality is tough, but it's something that we have to appreciate in the game of football. I think that he'll do his best to be what the team needs. I think that's what we're all trying to do, is do our best to fit the position and play the role that is required of us.
What are your thoughts on Logan Hall?
A young guy has a lot to learn. He's going to consistently grow, but one thing he comes to work with an excitement, like I talked about earlier about football, and that's all you need. Coaches always said this back in the day. He said, if you're pushing, you know what I mean. I don't want to have to. I want a guy that I have to pull back, not push. And he's one of those guys.
You probably spoke to this when you got here, but is it refreshing for you? I mean, you obviously were in Chicago for a while, but just the change of scenery, a different team, things to learn. Like, what's that like for your career at this point?
I gotta say the transition is the tough part, right? Picking up your life and moving, especially when you have kids and stuff like that. That's always tough, and I think that's something that gets understated, But I would say that this transition has been made smooth by the people that I have around me. I would say that the guys have been super welcoming. There's a certain camaraderie that guys when they're on winning teams have. And they definitely have it here, and we go out and eat together, and so share stories, get to know one another. It is refreshing in a way.
From a pass rushing standpoint, have you had conversations with the interior defensive line and the edge rushers too, just how scary of a unit that you all can be, just getting after the quarterback with the talent spread across this defensive line?
Yeah, what helps is I was actually going to add to that, those dynamic outside rushers like Shaq Barrett. It makes our job easier, simply said.
Speaking of those outside rushers, Joe Troy is a guy that's looking to take the next step, right? He's stepping in for JPP's shoes. What have you seen out of him? What can he bring to your group?
It's funny. That was one of the first names my agent said to me when I was thinking about coming to Tampa. He said his name, and I was like, "Who's that?" And then I actually turned on the tape. I watched his highlight tape, and I was excited to play with him. I already knew about Shaq, right? But I'm excited to play with this group of guys.
And I'd ask Cam this, but you've known Tom Brady a little bit longer than everybody because you guys had a previous relationship. What can you say about a guy turning 45 and still doing it at the highest level?
Me and Logan Ryan were laughing about that in the cold tub the other day. One, about how we were back together again, getting to play together, because we've played against each other a few times since then. But also to have a quarterback leader like that, you know, it's something that you can't put a value on it.
Is he different in any way to you from what he was 5-6 years ago when you were with him?
Not at all. I would say that he's just as excited about the game of football. He is, you know, a leader of men. I would say that, you know, his efficiency is something to, if I were a guy at his position and I was following him, I would emulate everything he did, from the way he tied his shoes, you know? So that's my tidbit on that.